The shuttle doors opened with a soft hiss, and Kang Do-hyun stepped onto the floating platform of the Celestial Academy. He carried only a small bag over his shoulder. His clothes were simple and old. They were not like the bright uniforms of the other students walking past him. The academy floated above a purple gas giant. Its towers were made of white crystal and silver metal. Gardens with strange flowers grew on every level. Ships came and went from dozens of landing pads. Everything was beautiful and expensive and very, very alien. Do-hyun kept his head down and walked toward the main building. The Falari built this place 300 years ago. They were a cat-like species with soft fur, sharp minds, and even sharper claws. They ran the best schools in the galaxy. Getting accepted here meant you were special. Getting a scholarship here meant you were either a genius or a charity case. Do-hyun was neither. He was just lucky, or unlucky. He had not decided yet. Inside the main hall, hundreds of students moved between classes. Most of them were Falari. Their fur came in many colors: silver, gold, black, spotted, striped. They walked with grace and pride. Their ears turned toward every sound. Their tails swayed with confidence. There were other species too. Tall insect-like beings. Small floating creatures made of light. Rock people who left dust wherever they walked. And humans. Very few humans. Do-hyun found his classroom on the 3rd floor. It was large and bright, with curved desks arranged in half circles facing a central stage. Most seats were already taken. Students talked and laughed with each other. Friend groups had already formed during orientation week. Do-hyun had missed orientation week. His transport was delayed by a solar storm. He arrived 3 days late. Knowing nobody and understanding nothing about how this place worked, he looked at the seating. The front rows were full of eager students with expensive tablets and perfect uniforms. The middle rows held the average ones. The comfortable ones. The ones who belonged here. The back row was empty. Do-hyun walked up the steps and sat in the corner of the last row. He put his bag on the floor and looked at his desk. It was cleaner than anything he had ever owned. He did not notice the 3 pairs of eyes that followed his every move. On the other side of the room, near the windows, 3 Falari girls sat together. They wore the same uniform as everyone else, but with golden pins on their collars. These pins marked them as the elite students of Headmistress Velsira herself. The first girl was named Yuna. Her fur was pure white, and her eyes were pale blue like winter ice. She was the smartest student in the academy. She noticed Do-hyun the moment he entered. The second girl was named Hana. Her fur was orange with black stripes, and she moved like fire, quick and dangerous. She was the best fighter in their year. She watched Do-hyun walk to the back row and narrowed her eyes. The third girl was named Mina. Her fur was silver gray, and she wore small glasses over her green eyes. She was the academy's best technician. She had already pulled out a small scanning device from her pocket. New human, Yuna said quietly. He missed orientation. He looks poor, Hana added. Scholarship student. Probably from one of the outer colonies. Mina pointed her scanner toward the back row. The device was no bigger than her palm, but it could read a person's biological data from 50 meters away. It was not exactly legal to use on other students, but Mina had never cared much about rules. The scanner beeped. Then it beeped again. Then it made a sound Mina had never heard before. What is it? Yuna asked. Mina stared at the screen. Her ears went flat against her head. That cannot be right. Let me see. Hana grabbed the device and looked at the readings. Her tail puffed up with surprise. What does this mean? His numbers are broken. They are not broken, Mina said slowly. They are just impossible. The scanner showed Do-hyun's basic biological data. Heart rate. Low and steady. Like someone sleeping. Brain activity. Complex patterns that shifted every few seconds. Muscle density. Normal for a human. But then, the strange readings began. Adaptive Response Index, 847. Normal humans showed 50 to 100. Elite soldiers showed 200 at most. Emotional resonance signature. Active across all frequencies. This meant he could sense the emotions of others, even without touching them. Humans were not supposed to have this ability at all. Threat assessment. Dormant apex predator. Apex predator? Hana read the words out loud. Humans are prey species. They have no claws, no fangs, no natural weapons. They are soft, and slow, and weak. Thank you watching. The scanner does not lie, Mina said. Yuna watched the human boy in the back row. He sat very still. His eyes looked at nothing. His hands rested on his desk without moving. He looked like the most boring, most ordinary creature in the room, but the scanner said otherwise. We need to tell Headmistress Velsira, Yuna decided. The classroom door opened, and their teacher walked in. Class began. For the next 2 hours, they learned about galactic history and trade routes and political alliances. Normal, boring things. Do-hyun took notes on a cheap tablet. He did not speak. He did not raise his hand. He did not look at anyone. When class ended, he was the last to leave. The 3 girls followed him. Do-hyun walked through the halls without direction. He looked at signs and screens, trying to understand the academy's layout. He found the cafeteria but did not go inside. He found the library and stood at the entrance for a long moment before walking away. Finally, he found a small garden on an outer platform. It was empty and quiet. Strange blue flowers grew in neat rows. A bench sat under a tree with silver leaves. Do-hyun sat on the bench and closed his eyes. The 3 girls watched from behind a pillar. What is he doing? Hana whispered. Sitting, Mina answered. I can see that. But why here? Why alone? Yuna studied the human carefully. She noticed things the others missed. The way his shoulders were too tense. The way his breathing was too controlled. The small scars on his hands that his sleeves did not quite hide. He is not sitting, Yuna said quietly. He is listening. As if hearing her words, Do-hyun opened his eyes. He looked directly at the pillar where they were hiding. The 3 girls froze. Do-hyun looked at them for 5 long seconds. His face showed nothing. No surprise. No anger. No fear. Just calm. Steady observation. Then he stood up, picked up his bag, and walked away. He knew, Mina breathed. He knew we were there the whole time. How? Hana demanded. We made no sound. We were downwind. Our scanner was in passive mode. Yuna watched the human disappear around a corner. Her heart was beating faster than normal. For the first time in years, she felt something she had almost forgotten. She felt curious. Tonight, she said, we talked to Headmistress Velsira. The other 2 nodded. Something strange had arrived at the Celestial Academy. Something that looked like a quiet boy but read like a sleeping predator. And they were going to find out why. Headmistress Velsira's office sat at the top of the tallest tower. The walls were made of glass, showing the purple clouds of the gas giant below and the stars above. Everything inside was elegant and old. Books lined the shelves. Strange artifacts from 100 worlds decorated the corners. Velsira herself sat behind a desk made of dark wood. She was old for a Falari, with gray streaks in her black fur. Her eyes were gold, and they missed nothing. She had run this academy for 40 years. She had seen thousands of students come and go. Very few things surprised her anymore. The 3 girls stood before her desk. Yuna spoke first, as she always did. We found something strange today, Headmistress. Velsira's ears turned toward her. Strange how? A new student, human. He arrived late, after orientation. Yuna paused. Mina scanned him. AR. The headmistress looked at Mina. Using equipment that students are not supposed to have? Mina's tail dropped. Yes, headmistress. Show me the results. Mina placed her scanner on the desk. Velsira picked it up and studied the screen. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then she set the device down and leaned back in her chair. Interesting, she said. What does it mean? Hana asked. The readings say he is an apex predator. But humans are not predators. They are barely a Type 2 civilization. They have no special abilities. They should not be able to register like this. Velsira stood and walked to the window. The stars reflected in her golden eyes. "Tell me," she said. "What do you know about humans?" The girls looked at each other. Yuna answered, "They are a young species. They joined galactic society only 200 years ago. They are adaptable, but weak. Their homeworld has difficult conditions, extreme temperatures, dangerous wildlife, toxic plants. They survived through cooperation and tool use, not strength. That is what the textbooks say," Velsira agreed. "But textbooks do not tell the whole story." She turned to face them. "Humans are unusual. They came from a death world, a planet so dangerous that most species would die within days. They survived not because they were strong, but because they refused to stop trying. They hunted animals 10 times their size by chasing them until the animals died of exhaustion. They crossed oceans in wooden boats. They climbed mountains that killed them and went back to try again." "That sounds stupid," Hana said. "It sounds insane," Velsira corrected. "And that is exactly the point. Humans do not think like other species. When a Falari faces impossible odds, we retreat and plan. When a human faces impossible odds, they attack." She walked back to her desk and pulled up a holographic display. Files and images appeared in the air. "This student's name is Kang Do-hyun, age 20, born on a colony world called New Busan, in the Outer Territories." "I have never heard of it," Mina said. "You would not have. It no longer exists." Velsira's voice was quiet. 3 years ago, New Busan was caught in what is now called the Border Collapse, a territorial war between two larger powers. The colony was in the middle. It was destroyed completely. 50,000 people lived there. Less than 200 survived. The room was silent. Do-hyun was one of them, Velsira continued. He was 17 years old. He spent 4 months in the ruins before rescue ships arrived. The reports say he organized the other survivors. He found food, water, and shelter. He protected them from scavengers and raiders. At 17? Yuna asked. At 17. With no training, no weapons, and no help, Velsira closed the display. The rescue teams reported something strange. When they arrived, they expected to find desperate, broken people. Instead, they found a small community that was surviving quite well. Do-hyun had built a working water purification system from wreckage. He had established patrol routes. He had created a rationing program that could have lasted another year. So he is smart, Hana said. That does not explain the scanner readings. No, it does not. Velsira sat down again. But it might explain something else. After the rescue, Do-hyun was offered many things. Money, therapy, a comfortable life on a core world. He refused all of it. He asked for only one thing: admission to this academy. Why? Mina asked. I asked him the same question during his interview. Do you know what he said? Velsira smiled slightly. He said he wanted to learn how to protect people better. The next time something bad happened, he did not want to be helpless. He wanted to be ready. The 3 girls were quiet, processing this information. The scanner readings, Yuna said slowly. Could they be the result of trauma? Some kind of survival adaptation? Perhaps. Or perhaps humans are simply more than we give them credit for. Velsira looked at each of them in turn. I have a task for you 3. Watch him. Learn about him. Report to me what you find. You want us to spy on him? Hana asked. I want you to observe. There is a difference. The headmistress's eyes narrowed. But more than that, I want you to understand. Humans are becoming more common in galactic society. They join our schools, our companies, our militaries. Most species dismiss them as weak and unimportant. I suspect that is a mistake. She waved her hand, dismissing them. Go now. And Mina, do not let me catch you with illegal scanning equipment again. Yes, headmistress. The 3 girls left the office and walked in silence through the crystal halls. The academy was quiet at this hour. Most students were in their rooms, What do you think? Hana finally asked. I think she is testing us, Yuna said. She wants to see how we handle something unexpected. Or she genuinely does not understand what Do-hyun is, Mina added. She gave us information, but she did not give us answers. The scanner readings still make no sense. They reached a balcony overlooking one of the academy's central gardens. Below, they could see the blue flowers and silver trees. And on the same bench as before, they could see a familiar figure. Do-hyun sat alone in the darkness. He was not looking at the stars or the flowers. He was looking at his hands. What is he doing now? Hana muttered. Thinking, Yuna said. Remembering. You cannot know that. I can guess. Yuna watched the human boy for a long moment. He survived something terrible. He carries it with him. When he is alone, it catches up to him. Mina checked her scanner. She had turned off the active functions, but the passive reading still worked. His heart rate just increased. Brain activity is spiking. He is stressed. Should we do something? Hana asked. Like what? Walk up and say hello? Mina shook her head. He already knows we were following him today. If we approach him now, he will know we are watching again. Yuna made a decision. Tomorrow, I will talk to him. What will you say? I do not know yet, but we will not learn anything by hiding and watching. She turned away from the balcony. Headmistress Velsira is right about one thing. Humans are more than they seem, and Kang Do-hyun is more than the quiet boy in the back row. Below them, Do-hyun finally stood up. He took a deep breath and looked at the sky. For just a moment, his face showed something sadness, maybe, or determination. It was hard to tell from this distance. Then he walked back toward the dormitories, alone in the dark. The three girls watched him go. This is going to be interesting, Mina said quietly. Yuna nodded. For the first time since she could remember, she agreed completely. The survival trial was announced the next morning. Every year, first-year students were sent to the Academy's training moon for a 3-day exercise. They would be divided into teams, given basic supplies, and left in the wilderness. The goal was simple: survive, find the beacon, and return. Most years, it was boring. The moon was carefully controlled. The dangers were fake. The medical teams were always nearby. But this year, something was different. Yuna learned about the change from Headmistress Velsira herself. I have modified the exercise, the old Falari told her privately. The human will be on your team. Watch how he responds to pressure. What kind of pressure? Yuna asked. Velsira only smiled. On the morning of the trial, 50 students gathered at the shuttle bay. They were divided into teams of 5. Yuna found herself standing with Hana, Mina, and a nervous Falari boy named Taeho. The 5th member of their team walked up slowly. It was Do-hyun. Hello, Yuna said. I am Yuna. This is Hana, Mina, and Taeho. Do-hyun nodded. I know. You were following me 2 days ago. Hana's ears went flat. You could tell? You breathe loudly. Do-hyun's face showed nothing. All of you. It is a Falari thing, I think. Mina opened her mouth to argue, then closed it. He was right. Falari did have a specific breathing pattern. She had never thought about it before. We were curious about you, Yuna admitted. You are the only human in our year. I noticed. Do-hyun looked at the shuttle. Is this the survival exercise? Yes. 3 days on the training moon. Find the beacon, return safely. What are the real rules? Yuna blinked. What do you mean? There are always real rules. Do-hyun's voice was calm. The ones they do not tell you. The problems they create but do not warn you about. It is supposed to be safe, Taeho said nervously. He was small for a Falari, with spotted brown fur. The professors monitor everything. Do-hyun looked at him for a long moment. Then, he looked at the shuttle. At the other students. At the professors standing nearby. Stay close to me, he said quietly. All of you. Why? Hana demanded. Because something is wrong. I can feel it. The shuttle ride took 2 hours. The training moon was small and gray, covered in forests and rocky hills. The air was thin but breathable. The temperature was cold. Their team landed in a clearing near a river. The shuttle left immediately. They had a map, a compass, water bottles, and emergency rations. Nothing else. The beacon is 20 kilometers northeast, Mina reported, checking the map. If we move quickly, we can reach it by tomorrow morning. No. Do-hyun shook his head. No? What do you mean, no? We do not move quickly, we move carefully. He knelt and touched the ground. The soil is disturbed here. Something large came through recently, something heavy. The four Falari looked at each other. They saw nothing unusual about the dirt. Humans cannot track. Hana said. You do not have the senses for it. Ever. We have different senses. Do-hyun stood up and pointed toward the trees. There. Do you see the broken branch? They looked. After a moment, Mina noticed it, a branch, about 3 meters up. Snapped in the middle. That is high, Taeho said. What could reach that? Something big. Do-hyun started walking. Not toward the beacon but toward the river. We need water first. And shelter. We move during the day and stop before dark. That will slow us down, Yuna said. Yes. But it will keep us alive. For the next several hours, they followed Do-hyun's lead. He moved through the forest like he had done it 1,000 times before. He found paths that were almost invisible. He spotted dangers before anyone else. Unstable rocks, poisonous plants, hidden holes in the ground. How do you know all this? Mina finally asked. Practice. Do-hyun did not look back. 4 months of practice. They made camp by the river as the sun began to set. Do-hyun showed them how to build a shelter from branches and leaves. He found stones to filter water. He identified plants that were safe to eat. The academy is supposed to teach us survival, Hana muttered. But you already know everything. The academy teaches theory. Do-hyun sat by the small fire he had built. I learned from experience. It is different. Night fell. The moon had no large predators, that was what the academy promised. But as they sat around the fire, they all heard something moving in the darkness. Something big. What is that? Taeho whispered. His whole body was shaking. Do-hyun listened. His eyes were closed. His breathing was slow and steady. Mechanical, he said. Not alive. It is a drone of some kind. Part of the test. A test drone? Mina pulled out her scanner. They did not tell us about any drones. They would not. Do-hyun opened his eyes. This is the real test. How we react to the unexpected. The sound grew louder. Then, through the trees, they saw it, a massive robot shaped like a wolf. Its eyes glowed red. Its metal body moved with terrifying smoothness. Run, Taeho screamed. No. Do-hyun grabbed his arm. Running triggers its chase response. Stay still. Stay quiet. The robot wolf walked into their camp. It was 3 meters tall at the shoulder. Its head turned, scanning each of them. Its red eyes fixed on Do-hyun. For 10 long seconds, nothing happened. Then the robot turned and walked away into the forest. What? Hana's voice was shaking. What just happened? It was measuring our reactions. Do-hyun released Taeho's arm. Fear, panic, aggression. It was looking for weakness. If any of us had run or attacked, it would have responded. How did you know that? I did not know. I guessed. Do-hyun looked at the fire. When I was on New Busan, raiders used similar tactics. They wanted to find the weak ones, the ones who would break easily. The best defense was to show nothing. Give them nothing to grab onto. The 4 Falari stared at him. For the first time, they understood something important. Do-hyun was not calm because he was empty. He was calm because he had learned to be. He had trained himself, through months of horror, to control every emotion, every reaction, every twitch of muscle. We should sleep in shifts, he said. I will take the first watch. No. Yuna sat down beside him. I will stay with you. You do not have to. I know. She looked at the stars through the trees. But I want to understand who you are, why you are here, what made you this way. Looked, Do-hyun was quiet for a long time. Then, slowly, he began to talk. He told her about New Busan, about the day the sky turned red and the bombs fell, about finding his family's house destroyed, and knowing, somehow, that he had to keep moving, about gathering survivors and building something from nothing. He told her about the fear that never went away, the nightmares that came every night, the way he still woke up, reaching for weapons that were not there. I came here to learn, he said finally. Not for myself. For the next time. So I can protect people better. Yuna listened without speaking. When he finished, she said only one thing. You are not alone anymore. Do-hyun looked at her. Something changed in his eyes, a small crack in the wall he had built around himself. Thank you, he said quietly. In the darkness, neither of them noticed Hana and Mina listening. Neither of them saw the tears in Taeho's eyes. But something had shifted. A team of strangers was becoming something more, and the test was only beginning. The second day began with rain. Cold, heavy rain that soaked through their clothes and made the ground slippery. The team moved slowly through the forest. Following Do-hyun's lead, he checked the map regularly, adjusting their path to avoid steep hills and dense brush. The beacon should be 5 kilometers ahead, Mina reported. Her scanner was struggling in the rain, but she could still pick up the signal. Good. Do-hyun stopped at the edge of a cliff. Below them, a valley stretched out, covered in tall grass and scattered trees. We go down here, cross the valley, and climb the other side. The beacon is on that ridge. That looks dangerous, Taeho said. His fur was completely wet, and he was shivering. The cliff is steep. I will go first. Follow exactly where I step. Do-hyun began climbing down, finding handholds and footholds that seemed invisible to the others. One by one, they followed. Yuna went second. Then Mina. Then Taeho. Hana went last. Watching the others carefully, they were halfway down when it happened. The rock under Hana's foot broke loose. She slipped, grabbing desperately at the cliff face. Her claws scraped against stone but found no grip. She fell. Hana! Mina screamed. Do-hyun moved without thinking. He let go of his handhold and jumped. Not down toward safety, but sideways, toward Hana. His body twisted in the air. His hand caught her wrist. His other hand slammed into the cliff, fingers digging into a tiny crack. They hung there, suspended above a 30-meter drop. Hold on, Do-hyun said. His voice was strained but steady. I cannot. Hana's eyes were wide with terror. My claws. I cannot grip. Do not grip. Just hold my arm. I have you. Above them, Yuna and Mina watched in horror. Taeho had frozen. Unable to move, Do-hyun's arm was shaking. The crack he was holding was not big enough. His fingers were slipping, 1 millimeter at a time. Blood began dripping from where the rock cut into his skin. Climb up my body, he told Hana. Use me as a ladder. That will pull you down. Then climb fast. He looked up at her. His eyes were calm. Not empty. Not cold. Just calm. I trust you. Hana hesitated for only a second. Then she moved. Her claws dug into his clothes, his shoulders, his back. She climbed over him, like he was part of the cliff itself. Every movement pulled at his arm, but he did not let go. She reached a ledge and pulled herself up. Safe. Give me your hand. She reached down toward him. Do-hyun's fingers finally slipped. For one terrible moment, he fell. Then Hana caught him. Her claws locked around his wrist. She screamed with effort, pulling him up with strength she did not know she had. He grabbed the ledge and climbed up beside her, both of them gasping for breath. You idiot, Hana said. Her voice was shaking. You stupid human. You could have died. I do work. You could have died. Do-hyun looked at his hand. The skin was torn, bleeding heavily. He did not seem to notice. You were falling, he said simply. I could not let that happen. Why? You barely know me. He was quiet for a moment. Then he said something that Hana would remember for the rest of her life. Because I know what it feels like to watch someone fall and not be able to catch them. The others climbed down to join them. Mina immediately pulled out her medical kit and began wrapping Do-hyun's hand. Yuna knelt beside Hana, checking her for injuries. That was impossible, Taeho said. He was staring at Do-hyun with something like awe. The speed you moved, the strength you needed to hold her, humans cannot do that. Humans can do many things, Do-hyun said. When someone they care about is in danger, they rested for an hour, waiting for the rain to slow. Nobody spoke much. The near-death experience had shaken all of them. Finally, Yuna stood up. We should keep moving. The beacon is not far. They crossed the valley in careful formation. Do-hyun walked in front, Hana at his side. She had not left him since the cliff. Something had changed between them. A bond formed in that moment of falling and catching. The beacon was exactly where the map said it would be. A tall metal tower on a rocky ridge, blinking with a soft blue light. They reached it as the sun began to set. We made it, Taeho breathed. We actually made it. Mina activated the beacon. A signal would be sent to the academy, and a shuttle would come to pick them up in the morning. The test was almost over. They set up camp near the tower. This time, nobody argued about watches or duties. They worked together smoothly, each person knowing their role. As night fell, they sat around a small fire. The rain had stopped, and stars were beginning to appear. I want to apologize, Yuna said suddenly. Do-hyun looked at her. For what? For scanning you without permission. For following you. For treating you like a puzzle to solve instead of a person. She met his eyes. That was wrong. It was, Do-hyun agreed. But I understand why you did it. Do you? You were curious, and probably a little scared. He poked at the fire with a stick. Humans are strange to most species. We look weak, but we do things that do not make sense. We run toward danger instead of away. We sacrifice ourselves for strangers. It must be confusing. It is, Mina admitted. The scanner still says you are an apex predator. But watching you today, you do not act like a predator. You act like a protector. Maybe those are the same thing. Do-hyun watched the flames dance. Predators hunt to survive. Protectors fight to keep others alive. Both require the same skills: awareness, speed, strength, the willingness to do violence. The only difference is purpose. Hana shifted closer to him. Her shoulder touched his. Thank you, she said quietly. For catching me. Thank you for catching me back. I almost did not. She looked at her hands. My claws are strong, but you were heavy. For a moment, I thought I would drop you, but you did not. No, I did not. She smiled slightly, the first real smile she had given him. I guess humans are not the only ones who can do impossible things. They talked late into the night. Not about the test, or the academy, or the future. Just about themselves, their homes, their families, their dreams. Do-hyun learned that Yuna wanted to be a diplomat. That Mina dreamed of building starships. That Hana hoped to protect her homeworld as a soldier. That Taeho wanted to prove he was more than the nervous boy everyone thought he was. And they learned about Do-hyun. Not the survivor, not the predator. Not the quiet boy in the back row. Just Do-hyun. A young man who loved music, who missed the smell of his mother's cooking, who dreamed of a galaxy where no child would ever have to grow up the way he did. When they finally slept, they slept close together. Not because they were cold or scared, but because they had become something more than teammates. They had become friends. In the morning, the shuttle arrived. They climbed aboard, dirty and tired but somehow lighter than before. The test was over, but their story was just beginning. Headmistress Velsira reviewed the footage from the survival trial 3 times. She watched the moment Do-hyun jumped to catch Hana. She slowed it down, frame by frame. The reaction time was extraordinary. The physical ability was beyond what any human should possess. But more than that, there was the choice itself, the instant decision to risk his own life for someone he barely knew. Fascinating, she murmured. A knock came at her door. Enter. Yuna, Hana, and Mina walked in. They stood before her desk. But something was different about them. They stood closer together. Their body language had changed. They no longer looked like three individuals reporting to their headmistress. They looked like a unit. You asked to see us? Yuna said. Yes. Velsira gestured to the chairs before her desk. Sit. We have much to discuss. They sat. Velsira studied them for a moment before speaking. Your performance in the trial was exceptional. All teams completed the exercise. But yours was the only team to function with true cohesion. You protected each other. You trusted each other. You became a pack. We had good leadership, Hana said. Her voice held no shame or embarrassment, just truth. The human led you? He did. And you followed? You, my best students, trained since childhood to lead, you followed a scholarship student who has been here for less than a week? The three girls exchanged glances. Mina spoke first. Headmistress, I have spent my whole life studying data. Numbers, patterns, probabilities. I thought I understood how to read people. She paused. Do-hyun broke all my models. He does not fit any pattern I know. But when I watched him on that cliff, when he jumped without hesitation to save Hana, I understood something important. What is that? Data cannot measure heart. Mina's voice was soft but certain. It cannot measure the choice to sacrifice yourself for another. Humans have something we do not. Something our scanners cannot read. Velsira nodded slowly. And you, Hana? What did you learn? Hana touched the golden pin on her collar. I am the best fighter in our year. I have trained since I was a child. I know 100 ways to kill with my claws alone. She looked up, meeting Velsira's eyes. Do-hyun has no claws, no fangs, no natural weapons, but when he caught me on that cliff, when he held me with bleeding fingers and told me to climb, I felt safer than I have ever felt in my life. He is not strong because of what he can do, Yuna added. He is strong because of why he does it. He does not fight to win. He fights to protect. And that makes him more dangerous than any predator I have ever met. Velsira leaned back in her chair. A rare smile crossed her face. Do you know why I brought Do-hyun to this academy? She asked. You said you wanted us to observe him, Yuna said. That was part of it. But the real reason is simpler. The headmistress stood and walked to the window. Our galaxy is changing. Old powers are falling. New threats are rising. The comfortable peace we have enjoyed for centuries will not last forever. She turned to face them. When war comes, and it will come, we will need more than warriors. We will need protectors, people who will stand between the innocent and the darkness, not for glory or power, but simply because it is right. You think Do-hyun is one of those people, Mina said. I think Do-hyun has already proven he is. He did it on New Busan, when he was 17 and alone and terrified. He did it on that cliff, when jumping meant death. He does it every day, in the way he watches the people around him, always ready to act if they need help. Velsira walked back to her desk. I am offering him a place in my elite program, the same training you three receive. The same opportunities. She paused. But I want your approval first. Our approval? Hana asked. You are my top students. If Do-hyun joins your group, he will be your equal, your teammate, your brother in arms. That only works if you accept him fully, not as an interesting human to study, but as one of your own. The three girls did not need to discuss it. They did not even need to look at each other. He is already one of us, Yuna said simply. Velsira nodded. Then find him. Bring him to me. They found Do-hyun in the garden, sitting on his usual bench. He was reading something on his tablet, his face calm and focused. When he saw them approaching, he put the device away. Hello, he said. The headmistress wants to see you, Yuna told him. Am I in trouble? The opposite. Hana grinned. A real, full grin that showed her fangs. "You are getting a promotion." Hana grinned. They walked together through the crystal halls. Students stopped and stared as they passed. The quiet human boy, walking beside the headmistress's elite students, something had clearly changed, but nobody understood what. In Velsira's office, the conversation was brief. She offered Do-hyun everything: advanced training, special resources, a place among her best students. "Why?" he asked. "Because you have what this galaxy needs," Velsira said. "Strength that protects instead of destroys. Courage that burns even in darkness. A heart that refuses to let anyone fall alone." Do-hyun was quiet for a long moment. Then he looked at Yuna, Hana, and Mina. "What do you think?" "We think you belong with us," Yuna said. "We think you were always supposed to find us," Mina added. "We think you are not the quiet boy in the back row anymore," Hana finished. "You are the one who sits wherever he wants, because wherever you are, you make that place safer." Do-hyun's eyes softened. Something warm broke through the calm surface he always wore. "Okay," he said. "I accept." Velsira smiled. "Good. Training begins tomorrow. You four will work as a unit from now on. Learn from each other. Grow together. Become what this galaxy needs you to be." They left the office together. Outside, the purple clouds of the gas giant swirled below the Academy's platforms. Stars glittered in the endless black sky. "So," Hana said, bumping her shoulder against Do-hyun's, "what now?" "Now we train. We learn. We get stronger." He looked at each of them, his teammates, his friends, his pack. "And when the time comes, we protect everyone who cannot protect themselves." "That sounds like a lot of work," Mina said. "It will be." "Good," Yuna smiled. "I was getting bored anyway." They walked together toward the dormitories, 4 figures silhouetted against the stars. The quiet human boy who had come to the academy with nothing. The 3 Falari girls who had scanned him on his first day, a team that should never have worked. But they did work. Because in the end, it was never about species or strength or scanner readings. It was about heart. And Kang Do-hyun, the survivor of New Busan, the boy who sat in the back row, had more heart than anyone they had ever known. The academy's halls stretched out before them, full of possibilities, full of challenges to come, full of a future they would face together. The quiet boy was quiet no more. He had found his voice. He had found his place. He had found his pack. And together, they would change the galaxy.